Welcome back to the next video in our series, and make sure, as always, guys, to like and subscribe and hit that little bell notification. So give us a thumbs up, hit subscribe, hit the bell. That's all down in this corner over here, if you want to follow along with our video series. So what we're working on, as always, and what we've been doing for this whole build so far is Yard Office number 3 from FOS Scale Models. So we've got the acetate in, and it is dried, ready to go. So what we're going to do now is show you a couple options that you can do for window dressings, and what we will end up doing. Sorry, I'm working as I talk. What we will end up doing is just using a piece of plain white paper, but I do want to show you something that you guys can do that's neat and different for your window dressings on your buildings. This is one thing that, actually, you know what, we're going to end up using it. Scrap this whole idea. This is something that we have on our website. You can print these files out and then print them to the scale you want. You can scan them or scale them down to the size you need. But they're basically just a whole bunch of different types of window dressings, blinds, curtains. Up here we have curtains, we got a whole bunch of different things. So what that does is it provides you some different textures for in your windows. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of these out while I'm talking, because we're going to use them in our windows. What you can also do is just use some plain white paper to make just a plain white pull down blind, but this is going to be a lot more detailed, so we're going to use a couple of mini blinds. I'm going to make sure I'm cutting them on camera here, and I'm going to trim them up. I'll be right back in a second. Okay, what I did decide to do is show you both things that I'm going to do. So the one I'm going to use mini blinds for, and the other one I'm going to do is just use a piece of plain white paper to show you kind of that pull down, like solid blind, where you just pull it down, it covers a whole window. It's not a mini blind. So we're going to put that type of window covering in the door, and the other mini blinds we're going to put in these 4 smaller windows. So let's get started on that. Now that the acetate is dry, we are ready to roll. The other thing you're going to need for this step to black out your windows for this particular setup that we're showing you is just a piece of black construction paper. You can pick a pack of this stuff up at your craft store. It's pretty cheap, easy to work with. So the first step is we're going to cut these window dressings to the height that we want them to be for our smaller windows, as well as that. I'm not going to cut that one actually because it's ready to go in there. I'm going to cut these 4 other window, these other mini blinds for these 4 windows here. And what I just realized is if I cut them in half, I don't need these other 2. So we're going to put those aside in our scrap bin to use for another project at another time. Next step is we're going to get some of our Aleene's tacky glue, the upside down bottle, of course, and just put a tiny bit again in our palette. Cap it back off, set that aside. We're going to get our toothpick we used on the last step, because there's nothing wrong with this toothpick. We're going to just use the other end real quick and put a little dab of glue right at the top of these 2 windows here. Take our mini blinds and just position them. Whoa, not upside down. Blooper. Anyways, position them so that way they're pulled down about halfway down the window. Make sure they're kind of square. You want them to look straight. You don't want crooked mini blinds. We're going to do that for both windows. When I flip it over, you'll see that it is not squared. Hang on. Make sure they're squared up nice. There we go. Now we have some mini blinds in our windows. Make sure that the edges are lined up with the opening of the window. That way you don't see light from either side. So there we go. We got our mini blinds in those 2 windows. We're going to go ahead and do the other 2 while we're on here. Just put a little bit of glue at the top. Grab the mini blind that we cut out. Put it down. Do the same thing for the last window. There. Check them. That one looks pretty good. And that one looks awesome. All right, the last window we're going to do is just a regular pull-down blind. This is just a white window covering, kind of like a solid, kind of, I don't know if you guys have, they're like a spring-loaded white solid blind or covering. We're just going to put that on so it covers about the whole top window and then just, 2/3 of the door. Same effect, but it just covers more of the window there and door. Next step we're going to do is take our black construction paper and cut it to cover up all of the rest of the windows, to black out the windows. So I'm going to cut little black rectangles, and we're going to glue this to the back. So I'll be back in a second. All right. I just hit the camera, sorry. We're going to just go ahead and cut a strip of black construction paper. I'm not going to be too precise with this. It's not like that crucial. It has to just be larger than the window. So we need 4 for our rectangle windows here. We need 1 for the door, which will be a little more narrow. We need 1 for that door too. That's it. I'm not going to get too precise with this. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. You just have to make sure you cover the entirety of the window. So we're going to put a little bit of glue at the top and bottom of each window, like so. Make sure, spread it around. Grab our black construction paper and pop it on. This is just like the acetate and the window covering. Once you have it applied, you don't want to move it around, because once you move it around, you have the risk of smudging the glue, into the view of the window, and that's going to just look bad. So there we go. We're going to take our thin piece of acetate here. I'm sorry, not a thin piece of acetate, our thin door. Acetate's already on. And I'm actually going to cut this one down just a hair smaller, just like that. And apply that there. So now our door is blacked out. And the blinds will show up much better. I'll show you guys here in a second. The blinds will show up much nicer once they're blacked out. Do our final window. Done. And we will do the door last. It's okay if the acetate has glue on it where the titchy window is showing, because as long as it's not over where the opening is for the window, you won't see the glue. And there we go. Put it on there. So now when you see that it's blacked out, the window coverings, the window coverings show up much nicer. You can see them much easier, and you can see the mini blinds much better. And it's cool. Using mini blinds adds a little bit of character to it. You can see in there, you can see the ridges for the mini blinds. It's a neat thing to do, and it's just an extra little detail you can do versus just plain white paper. So you can see the difference here in the detail between putting plain white paper in, which is fine, and putting in little mini blinds. Just looks a little bit more realistic for the people that are looking up closer to your models. So that's it. That's our window dressings for tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell button, as well as give us a thumbs up to catch more of our videos. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a good night.